London game. Jacksonville Jaguars at the Buffalo Bills.
London again.
Buffalo's the home team. That's why they got to pick.
That's why they got the hotel.
Yeah, it's the home team hotel. 9:30 a.m. So get ready. Buffalo's favored by 5.5 here.
How many of those games have we got? 9 in the morning games? Because there's Germany games as well, right?
There's a Germany game.
They're even earlier. I assume they're not putting them on earlier because that would be harsh.
No, they're the same time.
Yeah, but Germany is an hour ahead at least, is what I'm saying.
Naturally, yeah.
So how many of these 9 a.m. starts have we got?
I don't know, man. There's usually 4 in the season.
Oh, God.
Right? Let's just go. I'll just look them all up. You talk about the game. It's a very important question we have to answer live on the air here.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, look, Jacksonville bounced back last week and finally started getting some reward for the good plays they've been making, or at least the good plays that Trevor Lawrence has been making.
There's one next week.
Great. And they're a better team when that happens. I mean, I think last week showed a much better indication of what Jacksonville is than the 2 previous games, even if they hung pretty tough with Kansas City. But Buffalo legitimately looks like arguably the best team in the NFL outside of that Jets game, which is basically entirely down to Josh Allen melting down in the game.
There's 3 more after this week.
Okay.
Where are Colts Patriots playing? Are they in Germany too? Are they doing 2 Germany games?
I don't know.
We got Ravens Titans. You have the Chiefs Dolphins game, and you have Colts Patriots. After this week's Josh Allen versus Josh Allen game.
And then you got Ryan Fitzpatrick out there with Jameson trying to pitch for a Dublin game, an Ireland game. Seen that ad?
No.
Ryan Fitzpatrick and Jameson whiskey. They're
they want a game there?
Calling for a game in Dublin.
Oh, nobody wants to go there. The Irish don't know football.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, my biggest question here, I didn't listen to what you were saying.
No.
My biggest question is, can the Jags hang with the best? Did you ask that? Did you ask that question?
No. You can ask it entirely unencumbered.
This is the best show we've done in a while. The Jags,
certainly since yesterday,
kind of hung with the Chiefs a couple weeks ago, but ended up pretty disappointing. 17-9 loss. The offense, they were dropping some passes, a lot of just misses there for the Jags. Coming into the season, now look, they're just sitting here at 2-2 in the AFC South. But coming into the season, the Jags were with everyone else. The Jags were supposed to be the team to beat in the South, the team that was going to be joining the Chiefs and the Bengals and the Bills as the best teams in the conference. And I want to know if they can do it. At some point, they need a signature win. At some point, they need to show that they could hang with the best. Can they do it here on their home turf in London?
Their home turf in London. Was the last time these 2 teams played the previous Josh Allen game?
I don't think so, because I feel like we've done that before.
Have they done it before?
The previous Josh Allen game was 9-6.
Yeah, but it was Josh Allen, the other Josh Allen, the defensive end Josh Allen, going crazy and dominating and getting like a strip sack and an interception, like multiple defensive scores against the Josh Allen that everybody recognizes.
Because I feel like we've done this analysis. We've exhausted the Josh Allen versus Josh Allen analysis.
I don't know that you could exhaust it after that game.
Did they play last year?
That game was so dominant.
We get some fact checkers in here.
You have to give him credit.
So I'm not doing it.
See, look, he's even got a higher grade this year. What more do you want? Maybe it's time to start reversing which Josh Allen is the other Josh Allen.
Wow. The best Josh Allen resides in Jacksonville.
I'm just saying, the Jacksonville Josh Allen got here first, right? He was in the league first. Dominated the last time, maybe.
That is the last time, yeah.
That
November
they played
7th,
each other.
2021.
Okay, and has a higher PFF grade this year. I mean, those are 3 separate ways that he deserves to be the Josh Allen.
Well, this Josh Allen, I don't need to piss off Bills fans anymore, because I simply said, why do we have to flip Josh Allen from the Bills into number 1 in the MVP race just because they won last week against the Dolphins? Yeah, maybe this is time. Jaguars, Josh Allen. My point always is Josh Allen of Jacksonville needs more help.
Josh Allen of Jacksonville.
Yeah, he needs more help. Because, he went off last week against the Falcons. He can't be the only guy. They need...
damn it. He wasn't even the first one in. The Bills' Josh Allen was in the NFL first by a year.
Yeah, he was.
Okay, so only 2 out of the 3 ways does the Jacksonville Josh Allen deserve to be the Josh Allen.
Well, he won last time, too.
That's what I'm saying. That's
9-6.
That's one of the ways.
Jags weren't even good that year.
No.
They ended up having the number 1 overall pick, remember? Oh, no, they were coming off the number 1.
That game made no sense, and it only happened because the Jags Josh Allen crushed the Bills Josh Allen.
Bills Josh Allen coming off one of those. I mean, his the ceiling games for Josh Allen are just ridiculous. A playoff game against New England a couple years ago, the playoff game against Kansas City. He just doesn't miss throws, hits a ton of big-time throws, picks up passing yards, rushing yards, and the offense looks unstoppable. I don't know how you bottle that up and make it every week, but that's what we just saw last week from Josh Allen of the Bills.
We've seen the full range of possible Josh Allen outcomes in 4 games already this season. Like, I genuinely think that his ceiling is up there with I don't think you can limit this. I think there's a few quarterbacks who, if they have their very best game where they play at their peak for the entire performance, they're basically untouchable. But I think several of them can get into that same category. Like, obviously Mahomes, I think if you get the best game Justin Herbert plays, it's at that level. The best game Joe Burrow plays is at that level. Matthew Stafford as well, and maybe a couple of other guys. But Josh Allen is there. When he has his best game, it's basically impossible for a defense to stop. And it becomes one of those games where, it's really just a case of who has the ball last. And we've seen that from Josh Allen this season. We've also seen that Jets game where he had a complete implosion and you got the bad end of it. But if he's able to maintain the level he's been at since that game, like, the Jags defense can't stop it.
Just my quick take here on the whole MVP nonsense, just to enlighten our listeners. The thing that frustrates me is, and I know the market is more like predicting what's going to happen, and if I was predicting MVP, I would also put Josh Allen over Tua. I get that. It's more like the analysis of, well, Tua was the MVP frontrunner, and Josh Allen just won the game most recently that we saw over Tua, therefore flip it. Like, it's a horse race. Like, this guy was first, this guy was second, now switch it. And it's like completely forgetting. It's just so much recency bias. It's completely forgetting.
Oh, like, if you were saying, like, who will be the MVP at the end of this year, I think you can absolutely put Josh Allen in that conversation. If you're saying who is the MVP through the first quarter of the season, quarter of a 17 game, you can't have Josh Allen in there. The dude was like the worst quarterback in the NFL for 1 quarter of that quarter. Like, right. 25% of the season, he was as bad as a quarterback gets. Therefore, he can't win MVP for this chunk of play.
That's my
Anybody
point.
else can be. Like, Jared Goff has a better case to be the first quarter MVP than Josh Allen, because Jared Goff didn't go out there and, like, literally throw a game away to the opposition in one of those 4 performances.
And that would be my point in, like, the 3-1 Bills and the 3-1 Dolphins. Tua's game last week against the Bills, it was a bigger game, but he wasn't nearly as bad as what Josh Allen was in week 1 against the Jets. Like, they literally lost the game because of Josh Allen in week 1. And week 1 counts as much as week 4 and as much as week 17. That's my whole point with all of that. I've remained similar in this stance. I was, saying the same thing a couple years ago with the Brady-Rodgers debate. Like, don't sit there and overrate the most recent thing you said. More importantly, in this game, there's a lot of interesting storylines. Von Miller is accepted back at practice now, as far as the
right. They've opened his window.
Return to practice for injury. You don't think he's going to play? He said he wants to play.
I don't think he'll play. They just opened his practice window, which gives them 21 days before they need to actually put him on the field.
He said he wants to play. I think for an edge defender, you can go out there, rush the passer 15 times, and be all right.
You might be able to, but if you're Buffalo, what's the why? Why would you want to risk that?
Like, win the game.
Ease them back. They're probably going to win the game anyway.
Cam Robinson also back at practice
now,
for the Jags.
One is a bigger deal.
Yeah, and they've been okay at left tackle. It's everywhere else that's been an issue. So Buffalo, of course, without Tre'Davious White for the rest of the season, but their defense has been really tough. I think it's going to be a challenge for this Jags offense to keep things going.
One thing that's different about Buffalo this year relative to last year, remember, one thing was coming into the season, you're like, remember how banged up that secondary was last year? And if they can avoid that this year, they're automatically better. Now, Tre'Davious White goes and pops an Achilles. You're like, okay, maybe that one's not going to be any different. Remember, the offensive line last year was actually pretty bad. They've had this, what looks like a fairly deliberate team-building strategy of let's shoot for average. Let's not even try and creep back there. Let's just target average as the plan for the offensive line. Limited investment, and let's try and get a league average offensive line. And the risk with that strategy is, we say all the time, if you have an average offensive lineman, when he runs up against Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Aaron Donald, whoever, he's going to lose, and he's going to lose bad. And that's the game that makes everybody think he doesn't belong in the NFL. He should be playing in Canada, like this guy's a bum. But that's just the reality of an average player. Now, when you have 5 of those guys and you run up against a pretty good defense or a pretty good player, or simply they catch the bad end of their range of outcomes collectively. Now you've all of a sudden not got an average offensive line. You've got an offensive line that's crappy. And that's kind of what happened for the Bills last season. Now all those guys are actually playing more like, the average to above average linemen that they are. And that makes a big difference to that offense.
It's a really good point, Sam, because they are catching the better end of variance, getting the rookie Osiris Torrance playing pretty well. Number 1 pass blocking grade in the NFL is Buffalo. That would be unexpected beginning of the year. They're right in the middle of the pack as far as run blocking goes, but pass protecting pretty well against the Jags team. As I said, Trayvon Walker's got 8 pressures in 4 games. Josh Allen is the only guy that's actually getting after the quarterback. I think Buffalo could be one of those games where they have their way offensively here.
Would you put Cam Robinson straight back into the lineup, bearing in mind that Walker Little has been their best offensive lineman and might be better?
No, I don't know.
I also don't know that you can't. I mean, who would you if you were going to put him back in and you wanted to retain Walker Little?
I don't know
who do you put at right tackle?
I don't know what their plan was before the season, but they drafted Anton Harrison not just to fill in for a few weeks, but it might be Walker Little to right tackle, as risky as that is to move him.
Yeah. I mean, there's no evidence that he's a good right tackle.
Walker Little, 75 grade, number 2 grade on the entire offense for the Jags so far this year, behind Trevor Lawrence. Anyway, so Bills by 5.5. To me, potential statement game for the Jags. Do they belong with the best teams? Can Lawrence go, not that he has to have a game exactly like what Josh Allen had last week, but he's got to have one of those carry the team type of games, I believe. Calvin Ridley's got to catch the ball, got to get him back involved. Yeah, I mean, not so much back involved, but continue to spread the ball around. And whoever's open is open. So we'll see if Lawrence and the Jags can hang.